Welcome back. We're just about finished the shed project, believe it or not. I think I poured in August, and this would have been the beginning of December. So not too bad for Wednesdays and Saturdays. Just ripping the battens to size. I did 2.5 inch width. A little bit wider than I probably needed to, but it keeps the weather out a little bit more, maybe, I guess. So I'm able to do the side with that blue pool tarp, and I can do this garage door front, and I can do the other wall. The back wall I'm going to have to wait till the snow melts. That's because the snow is coming down, it gets packed in between the boards and the Tyvek. I don't want to be sealing in all that moisture and water. Oops. Sealing in all that moisture and water, so I just have to wait till it melts. That tarp did keep the snow out from this wall pretty good, so. These battens I also cut a 30-degree bevel along the bottom and the top most of the time. That just helps keep water shedding off a little bit easier instead of just collecting and even maybe getting sucked up. I'm not using a level or anything to make sure that they're straight up and down, just eyeballing it. It's close enough you can hardly tell. It really starts to feel a little bit warmer inside because the wind is off you in the interior. Still a bunch to do, but we're coming to a close here. You can see that pile of foam in the background. And it's mostly melted. So just finishing up some of the final boards, finishing up the corners because the snow is melted from between the cracks. Again, I'm not showing the back wall because there's no room to video. And the side yard, side wall towards along the fence, there's not a whole lot of video there either. So going full length here, so there's no split in the wood. Still see that pile of sawdust. Just putting that 30-degree bevel on again. This will be on the board. Some of the projects still left to do that I didn't end up showing was the eavesdrops, mostly because it's quick and simple and it's in the back and it's hard to take a video of. I flipped the door around. I don't think I have video of that, or maybe I have a brief little snippet later on in this video. Spray foamed the window and the door in. What else? I patched the eavesdrops, so I missed one little bit with some silicones. It was leaking a little bit. Went on the roof, found another hole that I missed. Tarred that up so it no longer leaks. Didn't really leak. It was more just it more weeped, like seeped. So it didn't drip inside, it was just wet, the wet area in the roof. What else? That about covers it. In the spring, I'll definitely go up on the roof and just double check everything. Because I know some of my screws aren't as tight as they probably should be. And I will have, I'm not too much of a fan of it, but I am going to be a fan of having heat and insulation. But the one downside is it covers up your roof, it covers up everything. So if you do have a leak, you won't know about it. And because I'm using a used roof, the likelihood of leaks are a lot higher. Mind you, maybe I should have just gone with a new roof, but that was a significant cost savings there. And even then, I'm going to have Tyvek underneath. There's no big gaping holes, so if it does leak, I should have enough airflow that it dries out. I'm not a fan of wood getting wet, dry, wet, dry, wet, dry. Just sorting my remaining battens to see if there's anything with no cracks, no splits, minimal pith wood. Trying to make my grain align right, because you don't want it to curl. So the boards are mostly bark side out. So your screws hold down the middle, and then your battens hold down the edges. So it's raining pretty good, but we can work indoors and switch these hinges around so I can have a functional door. So here I'm oiling it. I didn't want to paint it because paint, I'm not a fan of exterior paint so much. Always seems to flake or always seems to kind of look like junk in a few years. And then you gotta worry about touching up. If you replace a board, do you still have the paint? Is it still any good? So I chose to go with spar varnish and linseed oil. Spar varnish is already linseed oil based, at least the one I got. So I just basically diluted whatever additives they have in the spar varnish with more linseed oil, and then I added some paint thinner. so it would actually soak in and be able to be spreadable rather than just a thick goop. Not really a goop, but thinned it down a little bit so it's actually more or less usable. So the spar varnish should have some sort of antifungal because fungus likes the proteins that is still left in the linseed oil, because linseed oil is based on flaxseed, something like that. Not entirely sure on that. And then it should have some sort of UV additives as well, I believe, so it shouldn't gray as quickly. I was thinking of going with just straight linseed, but then you got to figure about, okay, what, like, I think they add titanium powder for UV protection, and then you'd have to add like copper oxide for your fungal protection, and then how much additive, and is it going to affect the stickiness? Instead, spar varnish, someone said that's a good formulation, it's a good amount of additives, and I'll just thin it out a little bit. So we'll see if it works. The good thing about linseed oil spar varnish is that I can do extra coats later on and it doesn't make a difference looks wise, or you're not going to have new paint mixed with old paint. And you can also paint over top of it, so you can use like a polyurethane or something and just paint over top, as long as it's like with like, I think so. Hopefully it lasts. If it grays, that's okay with me. I just don't want it like looking moldy, covered in inconsistent streaks of black and tan and white. So yeah, you'll probably see this in the background of videos for a long time yet. I just waited for a brief little moment where it was going to be actually above 0 for a few days. Not sure how well it soaked in, so I might do another coat in the springtime when it's actually warmer, or summer or something like that. Either way, it's much better protected. Instead of soaking in, like when you have rain or snow hitting the edges, instead of soaking in and making the boards wet, it now beads up on the outside. So I'm really pleased about that. I really like how it looks. So yeah, we'll keep you guys posted on that, or you guys will see for yourself. When I got to the third coat, I did not have as much as, like, I had more left than when I did my first coat. So just less was absorbing because it was already absorbed. So yeah, maybe I'll need less next time I coat it, but yeah, did not use a whole lot. Here I'm just finishing up the corners. I took a little bit of time to actually get this done because I wasn't exactly sure I was pleased about the way I thought they'd go. But after all said and done, I think it works fine. The whole idea behind the corners is that you're not tying your two corners together, like your two corner boards. This is just a corner covering. So that if your boards expand, contract, rise, shrink, etc., they don't pull away from each other and you split your corners. So this here is only screwed on one side. So the other side is floating, and then you just have your two pieces screwed together. So basically the one wall, the corner batten is screwed to the other wall's corner batten, and that wall's corner batten is screwed to the actual shed. So the one side is basically just floating, and you just have the pressure of your screws holding it together. Maybe they'll spread or shrink or do whatever they want over the years, but it seemed to make sense. But it's not, just seems weird because it's not solid, you know what I mean? Maybe overkill, but yeah. I'm just drilling out all my holes here because I do not want this piece splitting, because that's a pain in the neck. And then I did a final coat of linseed oil over it. Well, it's the final coat. I think the walls at this point have one coat. So then I coated all the corners, did my second coat, and then did a final third coat.